Welcome back to the show, everybody. IGN Live from Gamescom 2016. I'm Damon Hatfield. I'm joined by Miles from CD Projekt Red, who is a level designer on Witcher 3, but now you've been working on the Gwent standalone card game.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming by the show. You've brought the game here, and a couple of your colleagues are actually going to play the game live for us here on the show.
Yes, I'm being represented by Dan over there. I hope he does a good job.
Don't let Miles down, Dan.
The pressure is on.
And you also have this playable here on the show floor.
Yes, actually people can go in the public area and play the game.
Yeah. So Gwent was obviously a big hit in Witcher 3, and then the standalone version was a big reveal at E3 earlier this summer. How do you describe this collectible card game to people? Maybe people who like CCGs but haven't played Gwent yet.
All right. Gwent is a trading card game that's first and foremost set in the Witcher universe, right? So if you like The Witcher, that's a big thing you'll find here. It is, let's say, an evolution from the version you had in The Witcher 3. We didn't only go and polish the graphics up, but we also redesigned gameplay mechanics, rebalanced it. And the cool thing about it is that it has a relatively unique model with this best of 3 kind of gameplay, right? So you play a best of 3 match. And sometimes it's not bad to lose the first round to get your way basically in the second 2 rounds, right? And the other key difference is that we have cards as your only resource. So you see there's no other resource. Basically players take turns playing a card. You have to play a card though, or you have to pass, which basically prevents you from playing any more cards in that round. And that's fairly unique as well. So it puts a lot of stress on bluffing, you know, and getting your enemy to waste his resources, his cards, essentially. And it's different in the sense that you basically have to know more, you know, about when you play a card as to, you know, which cards you have in your deck, because at the beginning you only get 10 cards, and that's mostly it, unless you have a special card to draw more. But you don't get more cards as you progress usually.
Yeah, right off the bat, I can already tell you've greatly improved the visuals from the version that's in The Witcher 3.
Yes, that's something we've been aiming at, not only to make it more readable, right, but also to have it look a bit more clean. And man, it's such a weird word, like immersive in the sense you see how the frost effect now applies, for example, right?
And some of the other huge additions that you guys have added is in The Witcher 3, you can only play against AI controlled partners, right? So now you actually have real PvP.
Exactly, that's the main driving factor. People have been asking us, you know, like, I want to play this against my friends, arguably. Like, I've actually been doing some presentations in the business booth, and I've been asking some question about how many people have played Gwent in there, and as to opposed to how many people have finished of those Witcher 3, right?
Exactly,
And usually I find that most people basically are playing Gwent a lot, and, you know, and actually ignoring the rest of the game. So it's quite cool to see people so engaged, and that's why we're bringing it out on multiplayer, you know, competitive, to play against your friends, but also against other people on the internet. Yeah.
But then in addition to that, you're also adding a single-player campaign, which is something that's very exciting for me. You don't always see that in a CCG.
That's something we're really proud of. I mean, it is like, these campaigns will be full-fledged stories that we haven't been able to tell yet, you know, from the Witcher universe. And I mean, you'll find characters such as our favorite Witcher Geralt, right? But also new characters. And it's really cool because in these stories, we've been trying to do this, what people have come to love from us, our strong impact on story and choice and consequence. And we're not letting that drift away just because this is a card game. But in our single player campaign, you'll do choices just like the ones you're used to doing in our games, basically. So they can be difficult, not always easy to do, but sometimes it's just like, you know, choosing whether to explore a space or not.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see it here, but as I understand it, there's actually like a character that you control and move around, sort of is it like an overworld map? Yeah,
we have some interesting concepts that we haven't quite shown it yet, and we'll get to that, I guess, soon enough.
Yeah.
But it has quite a lot of unique things to it, definitely. I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah. It's also unique. You don't see a lot of CCG games made for consoles, but here obviously it was part of Witcher 3, and it worked very well in console.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense for us because a lot of people, like Gwent became big through Witcher 3, and a lot of players of Witcher 3 have been playing on console, right? So we don't want to kind of take this experience from them, right?
Yeah. But it hasn't, or it's I don't know if you have plans for the future. Currently, it's not planned to come to mobile. Is that right?
We haven't
Just
revealed anything to that accord yet, no.
PS4, Xbox One, and PC so far.
Yeah,
sorry.
arguably that's quite a few platforms.
Well,
so
sure,
we're,
of course,
we're
of course,
working
yeah.
working on that yet, and
Yeah. Is
who
it just-
knows? Who knows?
Yeah, sure. But should we assume that you chose to focus on those platforms first because that's where The Witcher 3 came to?
I guess that's one key aspect to it as
Okay.
well, right? You know, well, we're expecting that a lot of people who have played The Witcher and liked Gwent there
Sure.
will at least try out this version of Gwent as well.
Sure.
At least I hope.
I expect so. So can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in our game here?
Yeah, it looks like. Let me quickly evaluate. So we seem to have won the first round, as is displayed by at the bottom. You see half a crown, right? This is a symbol that we won one round. It seems that Dan has passed, and our opponent is now trying to resurrect a card from the graveyard. Basically, we have passed, which means that we're not allowed to play any more cards so far. It actually looks like we have passed because we are all out of cards at this point. And oh no, I'm actually wrong. Who are we seeing here?
Yeah.
It's our point of view.
We're not seeing Dan's
Point
character
of view.
here.
So it's actually.
Maybe we're watching Imlerith playing here.
Oh right, okay. So we're actually watching our opponent play. Looks bad for
Yeah.
you over there. So basically, passing means that you forfeit your right to play any more cards in this round,
Right.
and the other person still can play as many as he wants. But since your cards are the only resource that you have, and if you run out of cards, you probably end up losing the game, much like has happened here.
Mhm.
You'll want to, use your cards sparingly. All right, it looks like we won. I'm not quite sure. It all happened so
think
fast.
We saw someone lose, but that means we won.
Wait, who won?
That's
Both
Dan?
of them.
Yep.
They just okay, Dan, we
How
won.
that works.
Awesome. Good job.
All right, so you've obviously upgraded the visuals a lot. What else? Has anything else been added to the actual game mechanics of Gwent?
Yeah, mechanically, I mean, we see it here already, right? So this is the screen where you redraw cards at the very beginning, and here you can now redraw 3 instead of 2 cards in the basic version of the game. It's things like these that are basic balance changes that make the game more interesting. Also, we have basically looked at each single deck and completely rebalanced them, added new cards, changed functionality of known cards. So you see the Fogling here, for example, and you see that it plays multiple cards, but when you play, for example, a fog card, these monsters become stronger, right? So the monsters, they're very strong on the weather play. In The Witcher 3's version of Gwent, you could easily disable a monster deck using a frost card. But now it's more like monsters profit from weather effects in general, right? They try to weaken their opponents, and strengthen their own with various kinds of weather play. So that's one of the big changes.
I see. And is anything from your Witcher 3 Gwent experience going to carry over into the standalone version, or do you just sort of start over again?
I guess you'll be sort of. I mean, there's lots of new stuff, of course,
Right.
but you'll be familiar. In the sense that I guess you'll have an easier start since you know some of the cards, right? You know how
Yeah.
the game works. But ideally for us, what we're really trying hard to do is to make this game accessible to people. So our personal goal is sort of that you should be able to grasp the game in 15 minutes.
Okay.
And what we've been doing is we've been gathering a lot of feedback from people, even here in our business booth presentations. And we want to really get that goal, right, where we go and have players be able to play it quite easily, jump in, understand it. At the same time, of course, we want to provide enough content and depth that people who are more hardcore and really want to get into it can really sink their teeth into the game.
So Gwent standalone is a free-to-play game, is that right?
Yes.
So what's like the progress? You start out with a basic deck, and then are you earning new cards as you win matches? How's it all going to work?
We're still determining that. Basically, how we have it now is in the beta, we provide a certain amount of decks, 4 of them, each for one faction, and people can play using those. Later on in the betas, we'll add the deck builder, where people can then play their own, or create their own decks.
Okay. Then what about what will the business model be? Other CCGs will like buy card packs or buy in-game currency. What's your plan for that?
I don't think we're ready yet to talk about any specifics, but it'll be like one of our main focus, as we've been trying with our Witcher 3 DLC and all that stuff, is to be fair. Like people will not feel ripped off, and I mean, of course, yeah, we'll have optional. It's very important in-game purchases, right?
Sure.
But that's in no way free to win or anything. And again, our focus is on it being fair to the players.
Yeah. Well, there has been a big resurgence in the popularity of collectible card games recently. What do you attribute that to?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. It's been certainly. I mean, Hearthstone must have played a big role in the general popularity of.
I wonder if it just struck at the right time and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, these games are really fun."
You know, I feel like at that point in time there weren't really a lot, accessible card games on the field. Like the card games you see now, they're really easy to access, right? You just basically download them and then you can get into them. You learn them in a couple of minutes and then you can have fun with them.
Yeah.
And basically you choose on of your own accord how into you want to be in the game. You just play a couple of rounds or you play the entire day and really get into the meta game, for example.
Sure. All right, looks like we're coming into the final round of our match here.
Yes.
How is this looking for us?
Well, it looks pretty even. Usually what I do here is I check the amount of cards we have on both players' hands. So it looks like the Scoia'tael player, who is playing Scoia'tael again? Dan. All right, us. Has more hands in their card, which is generally good. It's generally a good thing, especially as you go into the later rounds of the game.
Yeah.
And they're trying to disable each other using weather effects. But you see here the monster card, for example, became stronger because it is in the frost effect. And you see that he played a fog card, which like a card which summons fog and basically makes it, the other fog cards appear.
Yeah. Yeah, having the different tiers of the playing field, that's definitely one of the most unique aspects of Gwent, I think, to me.
Yeah, for us, it's really and this is something we're driving really strongly in single player. That this is a simulation of an actual battle happening. You have like two armies fighting against each other, if you will, and you have these 3 rows on each side, which represent the siege, the range, and the infantry row, right? And respectively, you play cards into these.
What do we think? We're going to pull this. Is this going to be another victory here for Dan?
53-2. I can't actually read the top number, but I'm not quite sure. It looks to be very close. So this is the last round.
Yeah.
And Dan is running out of cards. It's interesting to see that Imler actually chose not to play the Scorch card because he has the highest rated cards in the game right now. And Scorch works in a way that it destroys the strongest card in the game. Now, this can also be your own card, right? And he doesn't want that.
Yeah. This new version actually really looks nice. Are we playing on what platform are we playing on right now?
We're playing on a PC.
Okay.
On 2 PCs, of course. Well, we won. Good job, Dan.
Once again.
It was very close, though. And as we can see...
You lost the round means we won the round.
As you can see on the score, it's actually very, very close.
I think we're going to bring a friend up here on the stage who's actually been playing against Dan. Is that right?
Yeah, not very successfully, though. Hope he's not angry.
Yeah. For our sake, I hope he's not angry. This is Imlerith, General of the Wild Hunt. Is that right?
Known rage quitter.
Yeah. Known rage quitter has been playing. Hello.
I'm
Welcome
sorry.
to the stage here. No,
we'll rebalance the entire.
It was a valiant effort.
You play well.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by to play Gwent today. It's going to be a closed beta in October, is that right?
Yes.
Is it coming to Xbox One first? Is that
and PC.
Okay.
And we're later expanding it to PS4 as well.
Okay, cool. And then as far as an official launch date, we're still waiting on that?
Nothing yet.
Okay, nothing yet.
We need to take feedback and see where we can go from that.
Yeah, cool. Miles, Imlerith, thank you so much for coming by the show today. Stay tuned, more to come from IGN Live here at Gamescom 2016 after this.